Hi, Palki. Very significant statements coming in from the Indian Prime Minister's address there, talking about the Afghanistan crisis, specifically an issue that is pretty much on the top of India's priorities when it comes to the circumstances at this point and the implications that it has. The Indian Prime Minister is stressing on how Afghanistan soil should not be used to spread terrorism.
Absolutely, a lot of important points being made, as you and Siddhant were discussing, and Siddhant very rightly outlined that this was a speech which covered a lot of areas. Afghanistan, you mentioned, very important. You could say that in this speech, the Prime Minister, without naming any country or party, had clear messages for three, threats. Three countries, three entities that pose a threat to the world. One was Afghanistan, ruled by the Taliban right now. He said that Afghanistan should not be allowed to become a safe haven for terrorists, and countries should not see this as an opportunity to further their own agenda and use, quote-unquote, the delicate situation in Afghanistan. That's how he put it. The second message directly was for countries like Pakistan. He said that there are countries that use use regressive thinking, extremism, and terrorism as a political tool, and they must know that terrorism will come back to hurt them as well. The third message, I would say, was for China and the South China Sea. He spoke about ocean resources, which were a lifeline of international trade, and he said that we must do everything in our power to protect them from the race for expansionism and exclusion. It leaves very little to the imagination as to who the Prime Minister was speaking about. So not naming anyone, but clearly sending out the message. And this stands in stark contrast to what some of the other speeches sounded like yesterday.
Indeed, and while referring to the Afghanistan crisis and the other global challenges, Palki, very significantly the Prime Minister also talking about how the United Nations needs to improve its effectiveness, and the very fact that he's making that address from the dais at the United Nations will have a lot of significance. The Indian emphasis on the United Nations Security Council reforms has also been highlighted by the Indian Prime Minister earlier on.
Absolutely. This is something that India has been pushing for a long time, and rightly so. The United Nations was formed more than 7 decades ago. A lot has changed. A lot of water has flown under the bridge. And it's time for the United Nations too to show some reform and give countries like India, the rising powers in the world, countries that do the heavy lifting when it comes to delivering on common goods, as they call it, to give their rightful place at the UNSC table. That's something that India has pushed for. And the Prime Minister very interestingly said that for the United Nations to remain relevant, it will have to make some of those changes. And that's a very important point, because we have seen the failure of global institutions like the UN, like the WHO in the wake of the pandemic. And what is the point of having this heavy bureaucracy the world over when it fails to deliver at the right time? The United Nations needs reforms. The United Nations needs expansion. There are 5 countries that hold the veto power and practically decide how the rest of the world should operate, and that's not acceptable to countries like India. Remember, India has the biggest force. It is the biggest contributor to the UN peacekeeping forces. Why should India not then have a say in making decisions? And countries like India. And he interestingly quoted Acharya Chanakya, and he said that when the right action is not taken at the right time, then it is time that makes the action fail. So this was a clear message for the UN that it's time for the UN to reform, otherwise the UN will be rendered irrelevant. And that is something that was expected. We were told in the run-up to the speech that the Prime Minister is going to push for United Nations reform.
Right, and significantly, the American president also earlier reiterated his support for India's permanent seat in the UN Security Council, Palki. And this address coming in after the all-important Quad summit, after the Prime Minister's bilaterals with the Japanese Prime Minister, with the Australian Prime Minister, as well as the American president, and of course the Vice President. So all of these issues that we are seeing the Prime Minister highlight also found significant mentions during the earlier discussions that were held by the Prime Minister in Washington, D.C.
Right, Molly, it's important to understand what kind of a platform we are talking about. We are talking about the United Nations General Assembly. This is the governing body for the world, if I may. And what does a world leader sound like? There are countries like Turkey, there are countries like Pakistan. You saw Imran Khan's speech, and I have some very interesting data. Imran Khan mentioned India 15 times in his speech. He mentioned Kashmir 13 times. He mentioned terror or terrorists 10 times. Islam or Islamophobia 5 times. Muslims 7 times. Taliban 7 times. You see where this is going. You see what is the thought behind that address. It's very personal. It's very negative. It's the tone is that of attack. And then you compare it to speeches like the Indian Prime Ministers. What are the issues that he raised? Democracy, inclusivity, development. He's talking about banking the unbanked. He's talking about housing. He's talking about digitization of services, vaccine manufacturing, supply chain diversification, climate change, terrorism, regressive thinking, science-based thinking, startups, incubator culture. These are opposite sides of the spectrum. The Indian Prime Minister is talking about a constructive approach. He's talking about development, and these are the goods that India delivers, not just within the country but outside, because as he said, when India reforms, the world transforms. So these conversations that were had in Washington DC and now the Prime Minister's speech give you a clear indication of what the vision of the Indian leadership is vis-a-vis the countries that surround India, that only focus on using terrorism as a state policy, that only focus on expansionism. India comes out as a country that is looking at uplifting itself, its own people, and by extension, people around it. And we've started doing that with Vaccine Maitri. We can do that with digitization. So that is the clear message, and that is always the message that Prime Minister Modi sends from this podium.
Right, and specifically on the Afghanistan crisis, Palki, since we're talking about the meetings that were held earlier in Washington, D.C., what is your assessment of whether or not India was able to achieve what it wanted on the Afghanistan crisis?
I think there is complete agreement from all sides that Afghanistan is a potential threat to regional security, that what happens in Afghanistan will have a bearing not just on India but the rest of the world, and everyone is concerned about the use of Afghanistan as a terror safe haven. Having said that, it is also very clear that the Americans have moved out of that theater. They do not want to be fixing the Afghan problem anymore. So India, to that extent, is on its own. India will have to devise its own strategy. India always has had an independent strategy in Afghanistan. Remember, Donald Trump pushed India very much to put troops on the ground, and that was an absolute no. India's contribution to Afghanistan was to nation building. India's contribution was to investment. India's contribution was to helping the Afghan people directly, and that's something that I understand India will continue to do. As far as the terror threat, India can only impress upon its allies and its partners that working with Pakistan is tricky. Pakistan is a double-edged sword, and if they use Pakistan as part of the solution, then they will never be able to solve the problem. I'm sure India has been able to convey that effectively to the American leadership, both in the conversation with Kamala Harris and with Joe Biden, and then later with the Quad meeting. But eventually what happens and how India moves ahead on this is something that will be led by New Delhi and not necessarily from Washington, D.C.
And a very key aspect of India emerging as a global leader, Palki, has been its vaccine diplomacy. And the Vaccine Maitri initiative of India has been lauded while the Prime Minister was interacting with the US Vice President, as also the US President. Take us through what this really means for India on the global stage when it comes to helping countries deal with the COVID-19 crisis. The Prime Minister also highlighting the achievements when it comes to India's initiatives on the vaccine front.
Vaccines are the lifeline in a post-pandemic world, and there are countries that sell weapons in the name of ensuring security of people and nations. And then there are countries that provide vaccines. India is not just selling vaccines, it is giving vaccines to friendly countries for free. And if you ask a common person on the street, what do you care for more? another missile defense system or a vaccine that will save your life from a deadly virus, I'm sure they will pick vaccines. And that is how India is reaching out. India is making partners, not just in governments, not just in capitals of various countries. India is partnering with people of all these countries by directly reaching out and making a difference to the lives of each individual. That is the kind of approach that India has followed. We know that India has the ability, India has the infrastructure, India has the facilities to make vaccines, and the world is relying on India really to be the pharmacy and to be able to provide vaccines that actually work. We know that the Chinese have also sold vaccines, and we know examples of countries like Bahrain and Indonesia that depended on Chinese vaccines initially but are now having to resort to booster shots. So India's vaccine diplomacy is going to have far-reaching implications. This is not a short-term plan. This is something that India will be remembered for. Remember, when people talk about India, they talk about yoga, they talk about peace. These are things that lend a soft power to a country. And from where I stand, I feel that this vaccine diplomacy, this ability to help tens of millions of people the world over with life-saving vaccines is going to bear fruit for India, not just in the short term, but for a long time to come.
And the issue of climate change finding a very prominent mention. The Prime Minister stressing on how our oceans are also our shared heritage, and we need to protect them. They're also the lifeline of international trade. We must protect them from the race for expansion and exclusion. That is a very significant statement, and can be interpreted as a message, a strong message coming in from India when it comes to the climate change crisis.
Absolutely. These are two things here, Molly. One is climate change. India is very keen to pitch itself as a partner for the diversification of global economy and ecology. Those are the words the Prime Minister used. He said that it is important, it is imperative that value chains, that supply chains are diversified, they're expanded, because we've seen what monopolization of such networks does. So one aspect is the ecology, and interestingly, this is something that has come up in every conversation, every statement, every readout over the past 3 days, and that is the green hydrogen hub. So India is, I believe, very serious about working on green technology. The Prime Minister very interestingly said that the future generations will turn around and ask when it was time to make those decisions. Where were you? What were you doing? So now is the time to make those tough decisions and work towards an industrial and economic policy that is climate friendly, that is sustainable. So this is one side of it. The other side that you said about expansionism in South China Sea is a direct indication to what's happening vis-a-vis China. China is an expansionist country. It has emerged as an expansionist, aggressive force in the South China Sea, and ocean resources do not belong to a particular country. These are shared resources. As he said, this is the lifeline of trade. And this region, the Indo-Pacific region, has seen 42% of global exports is going to see in this year. So this has become a very, very important hub, a very important region. And one country cannot monopolize these waterways. One country cannot stake claim to all ocean resources. Without naming that country, the Prime Minister has said that the world needs to come together to check such expansionist agenda. So these are two different things, two very, very important things which he has brought together in his speech today.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.